Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Monday, the 30th of December, and I am your host, Shozen, and with me today is my co-host, Bogul. How are you doing today, Bogul?
Good morning, good morning. I am doing super awesome. I am refreshed. I had Christmas break. I feel good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It was an absolutely fantastic break. I needed it. I'm well refreshed. I've come up with new ideas on how many breaks we should take throughout the year. Bogle, it's been a good time, and I'm looking forward to looking back on the year. That's one thing I got from this break, Bogle, is that we did a lot this year. A lot of things happened.
Yeah, I mean, not only here on the AO Daily Show, but in Albion in general, I suppose. I didn't expect it. I only expected a little bit, but we got like 3 different write-ups for looking back at the whole year. So I think that's what we will spend today with, right? Looking at these and thinking about the last year.
I'm going to be honest, Bogo, coming back after a week-long break and seeing that there was enough information already done for us to do an entire show was fantastic. It's like one of those late Christmas presents that you get, like, that friend you don't see right around Christmas. And then, like, 3 weeks later, they're like, I got you a Christmas present. Here you go. And I'm like, my day is done already? Cool. Thank you. well done to the community team there. Big ups to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of friends that you don't see the whole year, I might be a bit slow today because I spent, as I said, I had a refreshing Christmas, but I feel like we had visitors every day from family, and we had to drink a whole bottle of red wine every single time and eat a whole goose every single time. So I'm a little bit stuffed. But
man, these German festivities just sound terrible. I mean, how do you even get away with doing this? Was there any schnapps involved?
A few boxes. But yes, now I feel good. It's time to start again. It's time to start in the new year by looking back at the last year. Do we want to do official news first, or do we want to dive right in? Because we do have a few PSAs, if I recall.
Yeah, let's hit those PSAs up. Let's talk about the things that we have to get out of the way. Because, guys, I hate to say we have to get this out of the way, but we want Queen to happen, right? We want it to be here now.
Yesterday.
Rhetorical question. Yes, we do. We want it here now. In order to get there, Bogle, we have to have a few more resets. A few more invasions, if you will.
Like 10?
A lot. Oh my God! Look at the screen. It's a lot, Bogle. There's a ton of them. Do you have the schedule up as part of your regularly rotated images?
Okay. I can find it. I can find it.
All right, but let's just say we have a ton of them. The first one of these new, faster starting invasions comes this Saturday, where we will be here. We'll be here for Saturday, right?
Yes. Well, I thought I was going to be here last Saturday, but I couldn't make it. But with the new resets and the special, exciting one that we have upcoming this weekend, I think I can make it. Yeah. Oh, wait. Special, exciting, new?
Well, yes. Okay, so let's talk about somebody asked me earlier while I was advertising the show, will you have any new content at all, or is it just going to be talking about stuff that's already happened? No, we do, Bogle. I'm gonna break some news right now.
Okay.
The invasion that happens on the 4th, there'll be more dudes.
Wait, and that's it? More dudes?
Yeah, that's it. There's gonna be more dudes.
Shozen. More. We need more information. We know it's supposed to be escalating, right?
Yeah.
We have heard the word phase in the past, I think.
Yeah. Phase. Phase is an interesting word.
We do have the double points coming up starting on the weekend for the season rankings for the season. So I think it's a good thing to assume that there's going to be more phasey things happening.
I think you're right. I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think as we get closer and closer to the 20th, of which, I mean, we're 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
Today is 3 weeks away from June. I mean, not June. Why I'm saying June because somebody's telling me to give a shout out to June. This new shout out business that we have, Bogle,
Mhm.
is I'm getting these blips of information like at a different rate, and now it's like reading two things at once. So I'm reading the news and I'm reading the shout outs at the same time. And I think I just read a shout out instead of the news. So no,
I just
January's
enabled them, yeah.
on the 20th. It's going to be here in 3 weeks. We're going to have Queen coming up right away. People are really looking forward to this. It's exciting. But as we get closer and closer, these resets are going to be happening more and more often. Starting with on the 4th, we get the new set of them. Then it's going to be every week. And then the final week, it's like every day, every other day.
Yeah,
It's
it's
we get
4, 11, 13, 15, 16, 17, 19. Well, then the season ends, and then January 20th is the official end. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Busy week. Busy 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting period for all of Albion. And oh, Fun Stealer wants to make a big shout out, a very important news announcement, PSA, big deal. January 11th, GVG's end. No more GVGs for territory.
Who will be
I
the
don't know.
last person to fight in a GVG in Albion?
Well, see, I wonder if that's true. I think that it might be the last GVG for resource territories, basically. But after that, you can still, I think,
We might have to
until the
call.
20th home plots, maybe. Like, could happen, like technically,
Yeah. Well,
right?
it's a big day regardless, and
I'm gonna allow that.
be mindful that this will happen in the next few weeks. Be mindful that if you have not evacuated your stuff from the Outlands yet, and it is inside a guild territory, get that stuff out there as soon as possible, or you might run into troubles where there is limited access to these. Otherwise, the pro tip, of course, check out the test server, because there is a bunch of stuff that will be teleported to the various cities. And if you are curious what kind of presents you will get with Queen coming back from stuff you thought was long lost and gone, then you can check that out actually right now already. Yeah, PSAs. Was that it? Other than telling people to go watch the show and be live experiencing phase.
Well, no, we have one other PSA. Because this is a new thing to our stream, and to Twitch in general. Is I know a lot of you guys are seeing that little energy down at the bottom of your screen. It looks like a little Albion energy. You probably have like between 50 and 6K points by now. No, that's the scariest thing I've read all day. Please, that PSA needs to be not true. But the energy allows you guys to get shout outs. It allows you to highlight messages. It allows you to get emotes for 24 hours. It does some other things too, right, Bogle? Just it allows you to ask questions at the end of the show. There are some cool things that you can do with that, and I hope you guys enjoy that and keep using it, and we'll keep it going for as long as it works, right?
We haven't quite figured out the ideal pricing of these things yet, so some people might have like 15 shoutouts during one show, but we will figure that out as we go. And there is one AMA question I suppose I can ask already, since it's a good time to do this. Is there a raffle, Shozen?
I didn't get any gold codes today from Clement, but what I can do is just do it anyway, right? I'm just going to open a raffle anyway, and you won't get your codes today. That's what I can do. We can have a compromise. I will reach into my bin tomorrow and make sure that I can get you guys some codes, but you guys can't get them today. So let me start a raffle up. It's going to take a moment.
Okay. The other shoutouts we will read towards the end of the show when we have some more time, but now how about we switch to official stuff. Let's see. Oh, we have one more thing. New year-end fame boost is still ongoing. If you haven't noticed yet, there is the infamous Mists of Albion buff that happens when you log in, and that gives you a 25% additional fame buff until the 2nd of January, Thursday. So if you always wanted to finish up some crafting, some PvE, if you have nothing to do during New Year's, you can spend a whole night grinding, enjoy some fireworks, and then go right back to Albion. How about that?
Yes, I think that's a good thing to do.
Yes. Okay.
Like, well, some of us, an idea of a good night is to go play some Albion, and now you have an excuse to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning playing Albion.
My excuse was going to be watching fireworks, but sure,
Well,
Albion
that's what I'm
fans was
saying.
worth
Is
that
like
too.
it's New Year's now. You have fame, bonus. I mean, you can just watch the ball drop for a minute, 2 minutes in between, random dungeons.
Done deal. Okay,
I
Shozen.
think that's the way to do this. If I was to pick a way to do it.
This
We have real news, Bogle. We had some clarifications. We had some real news dropped on us. Good news. People who've been complaining since this news was originally announced might be able to scale back their anger and bring back the pitchforks a little bit, maybe tamp out a few flames. There were some adjustments made to the Crystal League.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Some good adjustments.
Seldom even posted on the 21st of January, which is, I think, the last. No, it's a Saturday even. Yeah, so SBI was still in the office on Saturday to give people some good holiday news, and they
Mm-hmm.
adjusted the current design for the upcoming Crystal League a little bit, moving around the time slots a bit, also updating their spreadsheet they had, which is, I think, the interesting thing to look at if you plan for your season. And of course, they adjusted the soft cap and item power levels for the various levels of crystal GVGs that will be upcoming. I always have a problem when I look at this. It's like level 1, 900 item power cap, soft cap 80%. Level 9 item power 1750. What does that mean, Chosen? Help me.
Well, let's first get to the first things first. A lot of people were complaining that the initial cap was far too low at
Mm-hmm.
700. So
Mm-hmm.
they moved that to 900, which I think is a good change. That's about right. What I think is a good introductory item power to get into. Then they changed the way that the cap worked. The way it worked was once you went over the item power cap, it was 80% of that was just taken off, and you would get 20% of any additional IP. That meant, that low end was highly capped, and even at the higher ends, it was pretty highly capped. I mean, we were looking at it, and the old way, there were a lot of people saying it's the biggest tournament in the game. Why can't we use our good gear on this? This 80% cap is just killing us at, I think it was like 1500.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was low. It just was not really what I thought would be an end game IP cap. So they changed it up a lot. And it's not just one thing by adding, just an additional 200 IP cap to the whole thing. They changed the soft cap to start going down 10% each additional level until it's only 50%, which means by the time you get to level 9 with a 1700 cap and 50% IP, I'm sorry, IP soft cap, like 50%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was the gear level that we were looking at that range?
I mean, the interesting things are always the highest possible thing you
Yeah,
could
like
get in theory, right?
what we were that's one of the things I wanted to look at. What was the highest we could get there? What was the highest IP? How much are you really getting nerfed if you bring your 8-3 masterpiece set to this battle, Bogo?
I think the A3 is either 1800 or 1900. Let me look, 1800, right? So if you have
Hmm.
the highest possible gear with the highest possible quality and the highest possible variation in terms of rule zones and relics, you're getting close to that 1800. And that is, if that's scaled down, it's I would assume that's realistic that not a lot of people will wear that gear, I think, at that level, but still to get to that max is very possible. So the highest crystal fights will probably be fought in pretty good gear.
Hmm.
And then when I was looking at this, I was wondering whether or not the price there is then justified. And then it gets into interesting calculations. How much is a gear set worth when you get like 40 million silver reward or something for winning the thing. And there, I'm curious where the balance will be and what people will bring there. If A2 is enough, if A1 is seen as too low, too cheap, maybe, or if people will actually bring a bunch of A3 masterpiece sets, because you have full loot, you have to bring like 6 sets. It's a hefty price to do that.
Yeah, it's it's a lot. Bringing all those sets to a crystal, with a set reward, you have to wonder what's more the reward, the gear, or the crystal reward. And you and I were talking about that. But at the end, it looks like it's going to start to even out here. And I'm looking forward to this. I really hope that a lot of these people who've said that they're not going to do this, they're just not going to participate in the Crystal League. And a lot of the people who've said they're not going to participate are some of the highest end GVGers that we have. Like, I feel like a lot of it is a, huh?
I don't believe them. I didn't.
I don't. Well, here's what I want to say is it's not that I don't believe them. It's more that I hear their concerns, and I'm wondering if what we can do over time as we get closer to this event is ease more and more of their concerns so that it becomes something that becomes more and more appealing to them. Because if they're saying they don't want to do them, whether or not they do them or not means they feel that they're less appealing. I don't care about their outrage statements or like what kind of thing they say, right? It's what are they feeling? Why are they saying this? What can we do to make it better, more appealing, something more enjoyable for them to participate in? And I'm hoping as we make more and more of these changes, because I'm sure this isn't going to be the last change to crystals, that we can make it more in line with something they want to do. As I understand right now, one of the main concerns still is the times like that people can participate.
Well, I think that's something to be figured out over time as we, get population numbers and as we see how these will be populated, because it's a big factor in choosing these times is the population density. Do you call it like this? Where you see how many teams are competing at the same time, and then you can, do matchmaking, all that sort of stuff. But one final note from my side. I think because my personal engagement with these Crystal League matches will probably only be, in the lowest levels. And I think for me, it's very enticing to just wear a little bit of gear and do have like a little of full loot experience and then have like a little competitive situation. I'm looking forward to the lower level ones personally.
I agree. And I got to say, one of the things that they did.
The higher ones.
I know. I don't think either one of us are at all good enough for the higher ones, but I guarantee you that we will both end up participating in these at some point just to experience them. Maybe we'll get some of our friends out of retirement and make an all-star retirement team. It'd be awful. But we could go get trounced by some guys. It might be fun to do.
Sure.
At low levels. And one of the things that I like about this, one of the things they did was they consolidated, like, I think it was like, what is it, 1 through 4 to the same timer?
Yes.
Or is it 1 through 3? Yeah,
1 through 3 will now be occupying the same time space as level 4, 3, yes. 13, and 20.
Right. So what this does is the person who's going to participate at a level 4 will no longer have like the real opportunity to smurf a level 1. Like, it makes more sense for them. If they only have the opportunity to choose one or the other, they're going to do a level 4. Before, when they could do a level 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the same day because they were available, that made a situation where you were guaranteed to have teams that shouldn't be competing against you and crushing you. Putting them all at the same level means that a level 1 is really going to be a level 1. Like, the only people who are going to be going in that are the people who aren't good enough to afford. Yeah, like you and me. We're going to be great. Those arena dudes, they're going to be flooding in there hardcore. It's for us. I'm looking forward to it. But I do hope, and this is just because I when you see so many people complaining about something, I don't know if they're right or not, like what the real issue is, because initial reactions of are often just emotional.
Hmm.
But so many people still keep complaining about the times. And I'm hoping that we can figure out a way to make this time situation work for people. Even if it's like you have a competition window where
Yeah.
it's
I
you can use
mm,
your token once
mm.
during that window. Or I don't know. Something's got to be done to make people happy.
I have this a very personal theory about this. I think a bunch of people look at this and go, "Oh, this is my personal time where I'm not available. I don't like it,"
Right.
and then they don't think much further.
But that's an issue.
Yeah. Well.
That's an issue.
Mm.
Well, here's the thing is if it's a person's time that they cannot play, that's a person who can't
Yeah, sure.
play.
I
And
understand, and then it's a question of how
if we
we can
have
in a global
right,
game make everybody happy, and then that's not possible,
how
and then you have
many
to yeah.
well
Mm.
well we have to try to do everything we can to make it as possible as we can. Find as many time slots that work for as many people as possible. And if it means for like the lower rank matches, we have to do it in a way where there's more of them just so they can compete and say that we want you to be able to play, right? That's the most important thing, that you can play. Beyond anything else, having the ability to participate is the most important thing. So it might be a situation where there's more opportunity to participate, but less opportunity to participate at the higher end fights, like those ones where it's once a week and those or twice a week. Sorry,
I
those
think it
fights.
will stay interesting, and as you said, it's not released yet as well, so I think we should move on because this is like a lot of theorizing. They're
Mhm.
still
Oh yeah, we're pretty far into the show. I didn't realize how much we've spent just yammering about this, but no, I think it's an important topic for
right. Yes,
so
I
many
agree. Yeah.
people.
Hmm.
And but we should move on because we have these end of year war reports, and we didn't even get to the year in review. We're still just talking about new stuff, but we had a lot of things happen, and SBI talked about it. Do we want to talk about the mid-season war report?
The Avalonian, yes, sure. Okay.
Okay, let's hit that up.
A current look at the state of the Avalonian invasion. I mean, we have tried to do a little bit of keeping up with the season, right?
Hmm.
We've seen some surprises from our side. Have you read the war report that was published today, actually, just a few
Yes, I
hours
did.
ago?
I did, and it's very familiar because this is the stuff that we've been talking about. We just did a war report before we left. We talked about a lot of these very same topics. It goes into the early season quite a bit how we started with was it War Gods who we
Mm-hmm.
had early in the season,
Mm-hmm.
and then Arrow 404 took over, and Money Guild consistently playing catch up, and then eventually deciding that it just wasn't worth the daily grind. It talks about some of the new members that we see working their way in. It's going to be interesting. I really find the effects of the point sharing
Hmm.
very, very interesting, and how this actually has worked out. Now, this isn't this season. I don't think we're seeing the people who really care about winning competing as hard as they might in other seasons where other things are on the
Mm.
line.
Interesting.
Um, while I do see, we did see a pickup in activity, and we did see a number of new players coming in and starting to take shots at becoming relevant this season.
Mm.
One of the things we haven't really talked about is how the teams who are consistently pushing for it aren't necessarily pushing as hard as they might
Hmm.
if other things were on the line. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this season moves into the next season, as we've already heard so many guilds talking about how they're preparing. You
Hmm.
have Money Guild preparing, you have Blue Army preparing, you have Crimson Imperium Reborn preparing. You have they are, I guess, repairing and preparing for CIR. They had to repair. Um, they they came from a very rough state and now are legit.
Hmm.
It talks about it in the war report how CIR has come back, and Poe is going to be a legitimate force going forward. I really believe they're going into season 8. When season 8 comes, we're going to see some new competitors just like we have in this one. and how it. Go ahead.
Speaking of new competitors, I think we should mention that briefly that Era 404, I think, is the only guild so far that has reached Crystal rank,
Yes, they are. Yeah.
and that RAQ overtook Money Guild for second place.
I what?
Yeah.
I I did not see that.
You skipped the screenshot, Jordan.
I did. I skipped the screenshot. I was
Arrow
holy cow.
404 has 189, RIQ almost 115, Money Guild sort of just stopped at 111.
Yeah.
And Dynastia
Oh
is at
gosh.
86.
Man. How interesting is it going to be if Arrow 404, RAQ, and Dynastia have their permanent like statues in Carleone and okay.
Double points will happen on the weekend. It's a whole month to just be like, listen, we just took a nap and now we waltz over you. It's easy, and then they will just be like throwing around their ZVZ might left and right to just be like, all right, we trained for this for 2 weeks, and now we just take it. I think that would be funny to see for a Money Guild, but I'm a little concerned as well. Yeah.
I well, I've heard Money Guild is preparing for ZVZ warfare and that their GVG efforts are really scaled down. I haven't looked into the numbers while we were gone.
Hmm. That's
That's for
something we can do
Wednesday.
next week.
Yeah, we'll be doing that on Wednesday. We'll be looking into the numbers. This is shocking to me. I'm just like, it's giving me gas. I'm like, what? Uh, no, really, what's going on with Money Guild? This is actually in a way concerning to me. I knew they were going to step back and do less, but I never believed that they would just slow down and stop.
Holiday season, and taking it slow is a real thing, and why not? Why not?
No, no, they deserve like the opportunity to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, how, when I mentioned Money Guild and Blue Army and CIR and some of these other guilds who are kind of taking it slow and preparing for season 8, maybe Money Guild is just totally fine with it. Maybe they're seeing the preparations that others are making, and they're working to make their own preparations as well, and seeing that that's more important than competing for another trophy. Like, trophies don't matter if going into the new season, it's a different game,
Mm-hmm.
different ball game.
One more thing for history's sake is I just want to mention briefly with 19 days and 16 hours. Remember, reminding no, being left over in season in this season, we have Arrow 404, RIQ, Money Guild, and Dynasty in the top 4, and then we have Phrasing, Conflict, Blue Army, Black Order, Hustlin' Hitmans, and June for the rest of the top 10. Before we launch into double points, and we will keep an eye on that. I just wanted to put that on the stream once, so when I go back to this in a year, I'll be like, oh, of course that happened.
Yeah.
So that's why I did that. And now I think, unless we have anything else to say about the season rankings and the competition so far, which I think isn't over, I think we can move on to the year in review.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess we can. I mean, if you want to keep right on what we're doing, we could do a quick overview of the seasons in review, because that's not really covered really in our article.
Can you do that just off the top of your
Off
head?
the screen? Yeah. Well, if you go to season 5, 6, and 7, those are the ones that happened this year, and you can see the stats. Season 5 ended on 3/30/2019. It's basically started at the beginning of the year, and just like the next season, season 8 is going to start in a similar way.
Okay, I didn't prepare this, so if you can just do it, and if you have things to say.
Oh, you can't see this? You're not. Oh, you're on the.
No,
test
I'm
server.
showing season 5 rankings
Okay.
right now on this.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. Well, what we had was BA, Maiden BR, Phrasing, Russian Guild, and Shelty, just in the top 5. And I want to talk about those really quick. As wow, why are you running? They're still over in squad. Maiden BR still over in squad. Interesting to see. BA wins this season. This was their was this their second victory, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was their second gem. They've done pretty good going forward, and they did the next season they won as well. But phrasing has continued to maintain power, as we've seen. They're still ranked. Maiden BR, I don't think we're seeing much of them. Where they're gone, aren't they? Aren't they over in Ecstasis now?
Well, their guild leader character is called Not Artista, and it has 13 members. So yes, they moved on to better pastures.
Yeah, that's sad. But yeah, the Russian guild, I believe, are doing fine right now. Still, they're still playing, still alive and kicking. And Shelty's dead. Shelty is deader than the rest of these. I don't even think it has 13 members in it. Does it have 13? No, it has 2 members. And
It says
there
willing to
was
sell. Oh my god! All right.
yeah, there was some chat earlier that Sorab was back, and I believe the last thing we did on our last show was effing chat to Sorab, basically, and put him on the naughty list, and that rumor was that he was done and deleted all of his characters for like the 4th time, and now there's rumors that he's back once again.
Season 6.
Season 6 was a fun season, right? Let me guess. The Blue Army won? Did Blue Army win?
It was the time of the VZ. Yeah. It was. I mean, Money Guild and Articulum Mortis. The big standout for that season to me was Articulum Mortis and the 5-person GVG team that managed to keep control over the south of, I think, Anglia it was, right? For such a long time, and that enabled them to win the season by themselves, which was one of the things we hadn't really seen before. And almost exclusively through that sort of action as well. And they retired afterwards. They partially merged into Blue Army, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But that was the standout guild at that time. I mean, of course, Blue Army won. Money Guild came second, and that we had that whole race thing. But it's... I don't know if I should feel bad about not wanting to talk about them winning again. So,
well, what I find interesting is that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the top 8 guilds of that season are gone. Articulum Mortis, 1 PG, Aggressor, and Shelty gone. And Articulum Mortis, 1 PG, both merged into Blue Army. Members of Shelty have spread to the wind across everywhere. Aggressor, geez, I don't even know where Aggressor is now, as I believe the last 2 guilds they were in have disbanded. But Conflict, Money Guild, Blue Army, Phrasing, still very strong, still continuing to work hard, and very impressive still. I mean, Ironborn, we can give them a shout out. U12 Academy, Ironborn deserves a good shout out because they're still strong. I mean, 5 of the top 10 still strong. 4 of the top 10 disbanded.
The one fun fact on the Aggressor guild information page, it says Aggressor's coming back 2020. Apply here. With Skaskabel being the guild leader there. So maybe we'll see a comment.
I've just been told that U12 is gone, so that's 5 out of half of the top 10 gone. Oh, God,
right. Well, do we season 7, guys? Do we see anybody gone there? I mean, Aggressor went after season 7, U12 as well. Master Superior sort of went as well, right? For season 7, the ones in the top 10. June, I suppose, is still around.
AW Gaming is still around. Guerreros is I don't think they're anything like they were. They had done very well in the beginning of this season, and then they broke up again. It's part of that continuing breakup.
I mean, so for I suppose for this whole year, we saw a lot of continuation. We saw a lot of strong guilds continuing for the whole year. We have seen the inevitable demise of some of the competitors over the year. that in many cases, though, just merged into sort of new entities, have undergone some rebranding, I suppose, and are still either being strong in the current season or
Hmm.
are under the hood preparing for what is to come.
Well, I just want to say that it's very impressive. What it says to me is how hard it is to continue to play at the top, as we've seen how quickly these top guilds get recycled. We saw, what was it? In 3 seasons, we saw
I think like 3 or
15 of
4
the top.
Spanish guilds, huh?
Well, yeah, the Spanish guilds. I just got pinged again, honestly, a little while ago in my DMs that somebody's trying to bring back the Spanish community again, and I love that. Is I gotta say it's impressive. And Bogle, yes, of course, June still exists. Let's be real clear. They own a lot of the cities. They're doing very well. I want to give some of these ones that have been around the whole year like a shout out. Like if you June, I think they're about half of the year. They're from June, so we'll give them a half a shout out. Start
Mm-hmm.
off right off the bat because they are still playing very strong. We got George in here, you know, asking for a little bit of respect. Let's give it to them. Money Guild deserves a ton of respect for the most competitive guild consistently since release,
Mm-hmm.
hands down, without a doubt, has been Money Guild. Nobody has done the amount of consistent, highly competitive gameplay that they've done since they've shown up, just hands down. So I would have to give them the winner of the last year, even though Blue Army won 2 seasons. Yes, Blue Army also big props to them for showing up and winning 2 seasons,
I
hands
have to
down,
ask Shozen.
hands down, and then even pushing really hard to make June win a third season.
Hmm.
And I find that really impressive. Mhm.
With June winning season 7, does that count as Blue Army winning?
No, no,
No.
not at all.
Okay.
Because Blue Army didn't participate in anything for half the season.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't.
Okay.
It didn't do anything
Because
other than
with the
play
recent,
content and
with I was thinking with some of the recent shuffling going on, I thought maybe that could count, but I suppose sure, sure.
yeah. But I actually feel like Blue Army, its dip was more significant than I expected it to be. Like I kind of expected them to be more competitive in a lot of their ZVZs. They've gotten to be kind of, I don't want to, they're average for the top tier, is how I would say. Like when you get to the top tier of ZVZs, Blue Army has become average. They lost that which made them a step ahead. They are no longer
That's
like,
a job. Okay.
well,
I hear
they're
that,
like
Blue Army.
before you could see them in the beginning of the year. They were
Mm-hmm.
so far ahead of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't compete with them in cities. You could not compete with them at all in cities. Now it's it's back and forth with them. No matter who, like we saw them go, toe to toe with CAR, and CAR come out ahead. Um, that doesn't happen in the beginning of the year. There's no way that happens in the beginning of the year. Now it could be that there's just parity in the game right now, and that the meta for ZVZs has changed so much that it allows for a lower level of competition to compete at a higher level, maybe. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's what's happened. I don't think that's what's happened at all. I think it's actually,
Blue
if
Army got
anything,
fat over
ZVZs
over the holidays, and they're like, eh.
success goes to your head, and then when you just like when it's all about just having a good time and the bar for having a good time gets lowered, then it's more about having that good time than winning. And when
Mm.
winning becomes not the second most important thing or but the third most important thing in a fight, then I don't think you have that drive to be good as much as that
Mm.
they
Mm.
did before. And when it comes to pushing a little bit more, you don't see it as much. Now, do they still compete and are they still bangers? Absolutely. But compared to the pressure that Money Guild has put on every single season, like every week, no matter what's going on, I got to give it to them as the most competitive guild of the year. Like have they haven't taken a break other than a break that's now put them into third. It's like, and it's putting them to third because a lot of this goes into this point splitting.
Mm.
If you look at them as just a singular guild and what they've done, they've done more.
Mm.
And you got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, and I suppose the newcomer of the year, is that fair to give to Arrow 404, or is that a long-standing one, or is like newcomer of the year just too
I
recent
think
to make a call
to the
on
top
that?
10. Well, I think the biggest climber of the year was Arrow 404.
Mm.
They went from being
I mean, they
we gave them
always
a lot of
had.
crap. We gave them a lot. Like they were here in the beginning of the year. I did an article towards the very beginning of the year about the GVG scene and what Arrow 404 was doing, and Arrow 4 gave me a lot of crap for the way I described their GVG team because I tried to make jokes about like their healing style. Now they have they've been
I
around.
want to
It's
say
not like
something
they just showed up this year,
because we're
but they
getting
took
trashed in
on
chat.
an. Go ahead.
Chat is like newcomer of the year, lol, what the. And then if you look at the season rankings in the past, they competed in season 1, season 2, season 3, not in season 4, but season 5, season 6, season 7, all of the seasons basically. And so I don't know if newcomer is a good way to say that.
No,
I think that's the wrong word.
biggest push, like the most impressive like change in the season.
Mountaineer
I got it.
reward.
Yeah,
Okay.
like they've gone up in rank
Right.
tremendously
Okay.
since
I'm so sorry.
like
Chat.
the end of season. What like where was the highest they finished in like season 1, 2, or 3?
12 in season 7, 14 in season 5, and yeah, season 1 and 2 is just like.
Yeah, like they've definitely Arrow for past history not found. Yeah, exactly. Like it just deleted. I can't connect to the server, man. I can't find any history on them. No, I think they did a really good job this year as really rising up the ranks and becoming a very competitive guild. Earlier on the year, we did joke about them. We made a lot of jokes about, and we still do, about their double healer comp. Like it's cheesy, it's irritating to play against. It leads to very long GVGs. A lot of times it does not, lead to exciting fights. But it's effective. And not only have they been effective in the GVGs, they've been able to take that effectiveness and grow their guild. Like they went from being one GVG team to now when you watch Crystals, they're
one thing
there.
to not
They're there in
underestimate
Crystals all over.
is after they merge and they come up with that success, they draw a lot of talent, they pull a lot of talent, and if they do a good job of integrating that talent for this season and for the rest of or for the beginning of the next season, then I think they build themselves a reputation and potentially a very strong base to build on, and that's really important, I think.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job, and it's the French community in this game has a fantastic history overall. Like my favorite guild of all time is Frog One, and what they did with their 5 guys and their 5-person GVG team was incredible. And it's my favorite. Like if we were to look back at the year, Frog One was my favorite GVG team of the year. Still, I mean, I loved Grizzy's team as well. Don't get me wrong, that was nonsense, and I loved it and had a great time watching that. But 100%, Frog One's GVG team of the year still. That moment when you see Frog One run against Sun and they send like 25 Sun members fleeing into their territory, and the 5 dudes from Frog One just just launch them, launch on them once, use up all their cooldowns, kill a few of them, scare the crap out of them just from pure, fear of recognition of the names. And we don't get enough of that in this game. And that was awesome to see. And they did. They even tower dived. 5 dudes started diving the tower against Sun. That's
Shozen.
awesome. Yeah. Moment of the year for me. What?
Moment of the year. Okay,
Yeah, that's my moment
that
of the
brings
year.
us
Like,
back to
yeah.
what we are actually supposed to do.
Well, I
We're
was talking about
supposed
the
to do
French
about the
community.
year
We're
in
talking about
review.
Arrow
Okay,
404.
okay.
And, if we're going to talk about the French community, my favorite thing that had come out of the French community was Frog One and their amazing 5-person GVG team.
My
And
favorite
that
thing
was my
about
moment of the year.
the French community is obviously Arrow 404 because I don't know much about them, but now I do, and I spent the
What
last.
about your man Vasort?
Vasord is from
He's Turkish, but he was running what is it? Articulum Mortis,
Vasord
which
is
was the
retarded.
Articulum Mortis,
No French
and
community. French
was
is
the
that's
French and
no,
the no.
no. I had a tip of the hat to the French guys. I hope the success lasts. Shout out to you guys for a very successful year. And don't pull the Blue Army and sit on your butts come the next season. We expect more good things to see from you. But let's talk about the Albion year in review because it's another thing that happened today. It's a little news article that was published there. It goes into a lot of detail or at least links what happens this year. And the two big updates that we had this year in Albion were Oberon and Percival. It's always funny to think back because if you imagine us 1 year ago, there were no randomized dungeons in the game. There was the old style PvE with static dungeons and not a lot of stuff to run around. And I mean, it was a different time. And now that randomized dungeon system is sort of the new standard, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when they put in solo dungeons, I felt like that was the patch for me. Like that was the one where I was finally able to come back in the game and actually do a 25-minute gameplay session. It was perfect for me. The random dungeons brought back so many old players back to come to the game, and it was because faming became non-static. It wasn't as boring as it was before, and people had a lot of fun doing it. There were races, there were a lot of dungeon diving, there was new anger being made and new fun to be had, new ways to exploit people. It brought a little bit of everything. But that was a huge change. The random dungeons, the first ones, huge change when they first came out. Huge change. Faming wasn't boring again, and it was good to do. I liked it for everybody. But what was it?
It also had the new tutorial, right? Because it was in preparation for, I think, maybe an even bigger thing for Albion, which was free to play.
Free to play was the biggest thing.
Yeah,
that was the biggest for the year. Yeah. Do I think that it has as big of an impact for retention as those random dungeons do? No. Do I think that if we had done free to play without random dungeons, we'd be in the same place we are now? No. Random dungeons were necessary before free to play, and random dungeons improved the quality of the game. Free to play gave us more people to play with, and it's caused this constant churn of new players that we wouldn't have had before. Like from free to play to now, there's just always been new players coming in every single day asking where can what is it? What are they looking for, Bogle? What kind of wood?
Birch wood?
Birch. I think, yeah, it's, yeah.
Yes. I recently played the tutorial again, and it has a huge screenshot of it, like where you can see the tree and says, "Look for this kind of wood," and then they just click it away, and it's like, where is this wood? But yeah, I agree. The free-to-play stuff was pretty big. In hindsight, the stuff that was going on in the back, I don't think we have time to go, quality of life improvements, bank tabs, new spells, improved, like hands. We have hands on characters now, customization, mount skills, and a bunch of that stuff. Really sort of change up the game and is in a lot of ways a foundation for what's to come in 2020. Of course, we had the anniversary as well, 2 years of Albion since release. they put the soundtrack on YouTube, which I always play at the beginning because I see a bunch of people who are always wondering what kind of cool music this is. Pro tip: it's the official Albion Online soundtrack that you can find on YouTube. Um, yeah, we started to have some events as well as celebrations for the 2 year anniversary, and then we slowly but surely saw destruction for the world coming with the Avalonians being prepared internally, I would say. So if you recall, I think the plan was to sort of get Queen out a little bit earlier. And then...
Yeah, originally thought it was going to come out in November.
Oh, that early. Well,
well, end of November was the original plan. But then once they realized that they added a bunch of additional things into the game to, I don't know, like balance out ZVZs to make ZVZ more competitive. They did the smart cluster queue wanted to be added. The debuff had to be added.
Also,
and so it really pushed it off. Yeah. And there was in the holidays, so the end of the year. If it wasn't for the end of the year, I'm sure it would have been released by now. Because I think the most important part of this is for them to be there afterwards and be ready to deal with the fallout from this patch. What needs to be changed when something happens after this patch? Does something go wrong? Does something need to be adjusted right away? We don't want another grudge meta. Like he's already like they've been real clear that they never want to have a situation where a bad problem exists in the game for a long time that can be changed. And so if they were to release it during November, they would have had the Christmas holiday, the end of the year holiday, all this stuff where all these people are just going to be away, cramming into a very small bad time. And it's just, they've done a patch in November before. And I believe I was one of the very vocal members of the community because I don't think I even worked for them yet. I was just like, don't do this. This is not the time. Don't you understand? We're not here on Thanksgiving. We can't test your stuff. And
well, now we sort of get to play with some of the things we will get with the Avalonian or with Queen rather, and it also allows for some longer testing because it's a big change. It's one of the biggest changes to Albion that's coming with Queen. I always used to say it's Albion 2.0. And with so much to change, so much to test, I think it's important to have a little bit longer time, potentially, to try this. We've seen some fun events with people doing the speed runs for the new dungeons. We've people seen trying to deal with the drones and the winged guardians. And I saw on Reddit that somebody said that there is less balls of light now, and I was confused if that's true or not. Chad, I don't know if you can help me there. But I didn't think that would happen. That said, though, moving from a year that saw a lot of additions and a lot of updates to the base system, now doing a whole additional foundational rework, it feels like Albion is in a good place for the next 10 years.
I don't 10 years. I don't,
at least 5 for sure.
We have a really good base, and I do like that they keep adding to it every year and making it better. And this year in particular added a lot of very good foundational materials. And then going into next year, like, well, what is it, tomorrow or 2 days from now? Going into 2 days from now, I'm really looking forward to Queen and how that changes what I have felt for a very long time was a weak part of this game. To me, the game feels best when you're living at home, defending your home, and feeling like your activities matter. The game had gotten to a point where people weren't living in the areas they owned, that it was becoming a raid type situations. Like you would raid the territories you own to get materials, get the stuff, and then get out. You would raid the territories you own to get your GVG team there to defend it or to get the war camp that you needed to defend or pacify or whatever. It wasn't about living in the Outlands and defending your Outlands, and the people who became important became fewer and fewer, whereas the average person had more and more like regular forced content placed upon them. Like They had to go do castles. They had to go do mage raiding. It wasn't like you lived there and defended your mages. You had to go get those other person's mages. And it wasn't like you were defending your castle. You were going out and getting that castle.
Hmm.
I'm hoping the changes that we see in place really do encourage people to live inside their territories, live inside the territories they own, defend the territories that they own, get the castles that they own. And it creates real battle lines, real lines of warfare, and causes like you and your neighbor who both have a shot at that castle to start fighting for that castle daily. And that becomes your content. Not every castle around the world, your castle becomes your content. And that's what I want to see going forward.
Yeah. Something
and I feel
definitely
confident
to look
about
forward
it.
to. Yeah, you're confident? Cool. Me too. I mean, I am a city rat. I have said that a few times. I will stay in my little Carleon city thing, and I'm looking forward to just selling more stuff to the things. And I'm also looking forward to, you know, a bunch of revamped circumstances in Carleon, let's say, or in the Royals. So it's not just the Outlands that get a little bit of a touch. But it's Albion 2.0. I'm looking forward to it, and I didn't want to do this on stream, but I recently sold like a bunch of mount skins, and I don't know what to put like 500 million silver in. So because right now is also the time of speculation, right? You have certain assumptions of what you can do in the next, or what will happen with the patch, and what you should, you know, put your money into maybe. And do you have any predictions that is not in terms of investment, but in terms of unexpected changes? Because that's always the most interesting thing. They like stuff that we don't expect. Do we have anything that randomly comes to mind?
Well, I do, because I brought it up earlier to you today, but it's so like out there, and it's so not what you're thinking of changes when you say what's going to change. And I go, like, in the next year, you're saying my prediction for the next year is something that's going to change that would just be completely different and unexpected to change. Is that what you're asking for?
I was hoping to get some information that I can speculate on, but sure, go ahead.
Oh, because I that's not where I go, Bogle. That's not. I'm not going to give you.
Okay. I tried.
Like, I'm not going to give you how to make money. Like, I'm not going to do that. But what I can tell you is that I see a base in place for a change in story to the world of Albion. And when I say the change in story, I say like we've been a sword and shield kind of game for a long time. And that gives you a kind of story, right? And we're starting to see the first impetus of like a mechanized world. And I've been talking about this for a while, as far as lore in the world, and how we're going towards this idea of energy powered mechanized things.
I don't know if I like
Bogle,
this.
do you have that screenshot that you showed me earlier?
Of the Space Marine?
Yeah, of the Albion Space Marine?
Well, no. I don't think I can show that on stream, but if you go to the test server, and you can spawn the Avalonian armor, and some of, I think, the plate looks very much like a Space Marine, and then if you give him like a tier 4, the portal guns that were a cosmetic thing like a year ago, then it looks like a heavy bolter Space Marine. I was like, no.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just
no.
I don't think that's the direction we're going in. But I see like the eagle, I see the drone, I see what creates the Avalonians. And if you want to step into a direction that says something kind of different and gives you a great like foundation for lore, we have this history of what caused what happened 1,000 years ago, what caused the mist, what was going on. And I love telling this story, and it's just me telling a story of this economy that existed in the old world that was completely run by energy and created a technology run by energy. That's something I want to see. Oh yeah, Bogle, let me throw up some crystal matches for these guys while we're doing this. Ooh. And I got gold codes, so we can pull a raffle too. Give me a second. It's going to take me about 2 minutes to get
Okay.
that up and running.
I suppose my comment on that is that I don't know if I'm a fan of that sort of. I think you called it steampunk, Albion steampunk.
Well, it's like Albion energy punk, you know. It's like
Yeah,
something
I don't know
different.
if I'm a fan of
To me,
that.
it's more like early Final Fantasies.
Mm, mm. And I have to add, of course, the caveat that we're just speculating. We sort of
Oh, huge
drifted off into this, because it's the end of the year. We've had some history. We like to sort of put an outlook there, and it's um, I don't. You threw me off because steampunk and shooting stuff and Alvin, it's
No, I don't think we're gonna. No,
nah.
the shooting stuff. Don't. No, that's not
No.
where I think
Okay.
we're gonna see. Is I think it's more like
Phew.
when
Okay.
you start manipulating energy with machines. That's where I
Mm.
think we'll see the art direction going to with Albion 3.0. Because I think this year we're creating a foundation of how the world is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
We're creating a foundation later on how the economy is going to change to be more fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to see after that probably like a change in story. Like that's the next, once you have your foundation in place, right? Then you can start focusing on content and story. And these little like breadcrumbs that they keep giving us about technology moving forward slowly around the in the world around us, in this world that constantly looks like it's in a state of construction. That's where I start to think. And as somebody who's, I think of my job largely is to tell the story of Albion and to create fiction based on the reality of the world around us. That's what we do, is we create a fiction based on the real actions of you players. And doing that, I see a lot of lore,
Mm-hmm.
in my own head.
I mean, the
Uh-oh.
most immediate thing we will probably have in terms of development there is that we hopefully soon figure out what Avalon is, right? I mean, we
Mhm.
know that there's elite dungeons and we know that these are spawning in the world, but that thing in the center of the world, that thing that is shrouded, we still don't know what that is. It's supposedly Avalon, right?
Mhm.
But we don't know if we can go there yet. We don't know what will await the adventurers there, and there are so many things that you can do with this that I think. Do you think we will know what Avalon is within the next 6 months, or do you think
6
that's?
months, yes. Okay, that was a long enough timetable to say, yeah, I would say yes. I
Hmm.
think 6 months is right about the right time. We might see Avalon as one of those mid-season, like not mid-season, but mid-patch patches. You know how we have that one big tuning patch almost every big content update. Like each content update has that mid patch that kind of like tunes everything again and kind of fills everything out. And we might see that dungeon as part of that, but I would lean towards saying that it's more likely to be part of the next big content update that adds a couple of things, including the rework to the Royals.
Hmm. Okay. By the way, on the back, I'm throwing up the crystal right now, so you can see RAQ fighting against Violets. And we are way over our planned show. We still, in theory, do have the community roundup of the year that we didn't get to, but that is, of course, all about us.
Yeah, oh, well, we can
No,
do that like on a Friday or something.
I think we
Uh,
need an extra show to just go through that because it
yeah.
has a lot of interesting videos that we kind of should show differently. Um, I don't have the link here for some reason. Well, and so all that's left to do then is go read out some shout outs from the good people
Okay.
and do a bit of looking at chat, I suppose.
All right. Yeah. And I also have that raffle that is open right now. So go ahead and get in that raffle. We will pull it at the end of the show. So, Bogle, why don't you start doing some shout outs?
First shout out from Fun Stealer. Join conflict for Queen. All other guilds are poop.
That's a good shout out.
Next shout out from Juan on top, saying a shout out to brother Pappy for being the worst Anglia GVGer.
Oh, shout out to brother Pappy. You're the worst Anglia GVGer. Well done.
Next one from Axon Fang FW Edit, saying brave newbies is recruiting.
I've heard that is true. I've heard that is true. I've also heard that that Pharaoh made a great video for them, and then they started like promoting it, and then Pharaoh replaced the video he did for them with the recruitment video for sumos, which I think is hilarious. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that happened. So I imagine that sumos and brave newbies are about to go at it soon. Like I think that's great. This is the kind of like nonsense that I love when, two guilds, fight each other. I love that crap.
Next shout out from Coyote Max is saying June is recruiting NAZVZers. Let's conquer the best territories around Avalon. What does that mean? Like
around? No,
oh.
It's around. He added a G.
I thought he means like on the bottom of Albion, which is like in the sea, and it's like you're looking for divers.
Oh, apparently, brave newbies kicked sumos from their alliance. Well, of course he's gonna change the recruitment. You kicked him from the alliance. Makes sense. All right. Shout out from Fun Stealer Bogul. Make me a bag.
Sure. Which
he needs a date for this New Year's Eve.
Huh?
He said that your girlfriend was a bag and that you dated the bags that you created. So clearly he's looking for a date. He wants you to make him a bag.
What?
Yeah, I knew you. You didn't get it the first time you said it. You're not getting it now. Marquez complete. Shout out by Tara Draz. Shozen, give me a hug. I tell you what, I will. If you come to PAX East, I will be there this year, and I will be wearing an Albion t-shirt and likely giving away Albion t-shirts to people who can prove they play Albion.
Ooh, PAX East. When is that?
March.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
A Fun Stealer. Another shout out. Be fair, SBA. Change 3 UTC crystals to at UTC.
To at UTC, unfair to NA players claiming 3 UTC. I think he was trying to shift the 2 to make it louder.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a loud 2. So that's like a capital 2. Okay. 3 UTC, I believe, is like 9 o'clock. So you don't get done until 9:30. Maybe it's too early for some people.
Well,
it's a conflict. Dad killed. But in the summer, 9 UTC is 10 UTC. So let's be clear, that's
not much clearer.
I don't even know one thing. No, actually, shoot, that's not even right. That's not even 10. It's like
we do have another shout out from Pando Baron saying,
not even 6 hours.
SBI, please keep the 3 UTC timer, and I love this.
I'm wrong. It's 10. He's right. It's 10 and 11. I'm way off. No, that is a bad time. I'm with you guys. 10 and 11 is too late. I'm in bed by then. Oh, dang. This is why I can't do UTC. It's too many maths. It's catering to teens and college students who don't have to get up for morning classes. Those tweens, the ones who are on their way to becoming adults but haven't figured out how to get out of it yet. Still teenagers at 25 years old. All right. Pesky Panic 19. Poe number 1. Crimson Imperium Reborn for life. Lack of capitalization, though. So it's a Crimson Imperium Reborn. Is like a sentence, not a guild name. But I know what you're saying. Smoke Adalic. Less Avalonian mobs. Amen to that. I agree. 100%. Gathering sucks with all those guys shooting the laser beams up your bum.
I think it's great because I sell more stuff that I hoarded over the years.
Yeah, I'm going to get a lot of stuff back.
People can't gather. People like... Wait, we have 2 more?
Yeah, the Matt Hatter. I'm going to find a way to make Claws meta in Queen. It's happening. You do it, I'll watch it. Sounds like a way to make it happen. Actually, it is meta. It's meta in the gank. Like the meta is more like what is everybody using to do a task with, and so claws are quite meta in ganking. They are the meta.
Sure, Shozen, sure. It's a little. Do we have another crystal, or are we?
We have one more shout out.
We have one more shout out, and then
Yeah,
we can end it.
Bacon
Okay.
is recruiting meat bags. Number 97 last season. Get wiped at least 6 times a day. Shout out for Chillmon. All right, let me look for another crystal.
What kind of recruitment shout out was that?
That's the
Meat
best recruitment
bags?
shout of the day. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Gosh. I have to. The problem is I have to find one that's still going, Bogle.
If we don't have any, we just
No,
call
there
it a
are.
day, I think.
The course, I'm sure there are. Here's one right here. I just have to KYSY.
KYSY.
And I'm going to go ahead and pull the raffle now. If you guys don't mind getting involved in that, I will do it. And somebody will get some gold because I did get my codes for the day. Cheer, cheer, cheer.
Okay. And yeah, before we get out of here, last. We will not be here tomorrow and on the 1st, but probably.
No, we'll be here on the 1st.
We're
We're scheduled to be here on the 1st, not the 31st. Are we taking another day off, Bogle? This is the first I've heard about it.
Uh-oh. I think
All right,
we need
we'll
to
talk
talk
about
about this. Yeah.
We're going to have to talk about this. Bogle might have events. He might be drinking some schnapps. All right. Well, if we're not here on the 1st, we will be here on the 2nd. And I look forward to seeing all of you again. I'm going to leave this playing in the background as we head out of here. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 18 UTC on a regular day for the Albion Daily Show, and Tuesday through Thursday for Albion Live. I know the schedule's going to be messed up for the next few days, but that's generally when you can catch us. And you can catch us later on soundcloud.com/AlbionTV and youtube.com/AlbionTV.
Yes. And regardless
And we'll
of whether or
weekend.
not we will be here on Wednesday, we will definitely be here on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. Have a good night. See you around, and we will figure out whether or not we have a show on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.